Hi everyone, this is Samantha O'Connor and I am recording my digital reflective story today. During the story, I'm just going to talk about how my perspective on technology in the classroom has changed over the past semester. When this semester began, I was really intimidated by technology, especially in the classroom. I am not super technologically savvy and I was not excited to be able to force technology use in my classroom. Before I began this class, I really had the perception that history did not need a lot of technology. I was really convinced that science classrooms and math classrooms and even English classrooms could definitely use it in more valuable ways than I could. I really thought that the only ways that you could really use technology in a history classroom would maybe design an infographic website or use Twitter to talk to other people and learn about history, like history of the day tweets, looking back on what happened today in history. But it really gave me a lot of confidence when Professor Bryan said to only use technology when it enhances the learning. I don't really believe that teaching needs a lot of bells and whistles, and I don't think that you need to force technology use when it doesn't enhance the learning. Using technology just for the sake of using it can be misconstrued in a lot of ways. What I was really afraid of a lot of the time was the fact that I might use technology to bribe students into participating and being engaged in their learning. I didn't want students to ever think that the only way that they were to be engaged is if I were to introduce technology. But my eyes were really opened to the fact that you can integrate technologies like Google Tour and things like that into history classroom, and it made me a lot more comfortable with the idea. I really do find myself being a social justice oriented educator, and I really want to work in low income communities. But with low income comes low digital equity, meaning my students most likely won't have access to technology at home. So for many of them, I anticipate at-home technology use being a problem. But with low income also means that students won't be able to travel and see all of these historical sites and learn about historical events from primary sources like places. But for example, Google Tours can increase accessibility in that it allows you to see firsthand the places and the events that happened in history. Low-income students, because they have low access to technology, I would expect that they wouldn't have a high proficiency in using technology. This is something I definitely struggled with throughout my childhood and now even as an adult, trying to navigate technology for my own classroom. This last semester has really opened my eyes to my insecurities when it comes to technology. And I know that I've limited myself in a lot of ways by just being afraid. But it's increased my capability and my ability to teach with technology because we've learned firsthand about a ton of technology. I really want to send technologically capable students into the world, and I really have to face my own insecurities when it comes to that. And if that means asking students for help, then that's what I have to do. Because as much as I hate being embarrassed, students are always willing to help and sometimes really appreciate when we don't act like we know everything. I know that my knowledge in terms of technology, the more I know, the more opportunities that my students will have to learn about technology. I've learned in this class that history and virtual reality really go together well. I can use Google Tour to make a tour of a historical site or even recreate a historical event and allow my students to wear headsets and actually watch places and events from the past. It's almost as good as having a primary source if I were to do it correctly. really noticed that using Twitter can improve your access to literally everything in regards to history. You can learn from accounts that simply just have history facts with them, and you can also speak to scholars, politicians, geographers, or even historians and just discuss all about what makes history history and what's valuable history, what voices are not being heard, who are we missing from history. It really introduces multiple perspectives that students really wouldn't get otherwise. After this class, I've noticed that my students will have more access to technology than I could even imagine. I have never even dreamed of all the ways that we could use technology in my classroom, and my perspective has been broadened so much by this class. I really appreciate the opportunities that I've gotten from this class, and it really has made me grow a lot as a person and as a future educator. I can't wait to utilize all the things I learned in our class next year and through the rest of my career. Peace out and have a great summer.